Alcatraz, the Rock. A fortress of steel and stone, sitting in the middle of the frigid, shark-infested waters of San Francisco Bay. It was America's most notorious prison, home to some of the country's most dangerous criminals, including Al Capone and Machine Gun Kelly. No one had ever escaped from Alcatraz successfully. No one. But on the night of June 11th, 1962, three men, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, vanished into the bay, leaving behind a mystery that has baffled authorities for decades. Their story is one of patience, intelligence, and sheer guts. And whether they lived or died remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. The criminal mastermind, Frank Morris. Frank Lee Morris wasn't just another prisoner. He was brilliant. His IQ was tested at 133, placing him in the top 2% of the population. He had spent a lifetime bouncing between foster homes, committing crimes from a young age, and, most notably, escaping from prisons. Before landing at Alcatraz, he had already broken out of Louisiana State Penitentiary, one of the most secure prisons in the South. When he arrived at Alcatraz in 1960, officials thought they had finally put him somewhere he couldn't escape from. But Morris wasn't alone. John and Clarence Anglin, two brothers from Florida, were seasoned bank robbers. They had spent most of their lives in and out of prison, but they were also strong swimmers, a crucial skill in what would become their great escape. The Anglins and Morris had met years before in a different prison and quickly formed a bond. When they reunited at Alcatraz, they set their sights on one goal: getting off the island. The escape plan, a 2-year mission. Escape from Alcatraz wasn't just a matter of climbing a fence and running for it. The prison was surrounded by freezing waters, deadly currents, and armed guards. No one had ever successfully escaped, and several who tried drowned or were shot. But Morris and the Anglin brothers had something the others didn't: patience, intelligence, and incredible attention to detail. Digging to freedom. Their first challenge was getting out of their cells. The prison was old, and the walls behind their cells had small ventilation grates that led to an unused utility corridor. It was the perfect way out, but the openings were way too small. So, using stolen spoons, saw blades, and even a drill made from a stolen vacuum cleaner motor, they slowly chipped away at the wall. Night after night, they scraped, carved, and dug. The sound of drilling and scraping was drowned out by the prison's daily music hour, when inmates played their instruments. Over 2 years, they widened the holes just enough for a person to squeeze through. They covered the holes with cardboard and paint, making them look like part of the original wall. Guards looked into their cells every day and saw nothing unusual. The dummy heads that fooled Alcatraz, one of the biggest problems they faced was roll call. Every night, guards walked by to check that each inmate was in their bed. If even one of them was missing, the entire prison would go on lockdown. So Morris and the Anglins came up with a genius trick: papier-mâché dummy heads. They made them out of soap, toilet paper, concrete dust, and real human hair, stolen from the prison barbershop. They even painted them to match their skin tones. On the night of the escape, they placed these fake heads in their beds, carefully arranged so they looked like they were sleeping. When the guards glanced in, everything seemed normal. On the night of June 11th, 1962, with their tunnels completed, their fake heads in place, and their nerves steeled, Morris and the Anglins made their move. 1. They crawled through the holes in their cells into the hidden utility corridor. 2. They climbed a network of pipes up to the roof. 3. They carefully crossed 100 feet of rooftop, avoiding guards below. 4. They climbed down a 50-foot outer wall and slipped into the prison yard. They had spent months stealing and sewing together over 50 raincoats, crafting a makeshift raft and life vests. They inflated them using a concertina, a small accordion-like instrument, to create buoyancy. With their raft in hand, they slipped into the dark, icy waters of San Francisco Bay and vanished. Did they survive? By morning, the guards had no idea anything was wrong, until one of them tried to wake the prisoners and discovered a head rolling onto the floor. Panic erupted. Alarms blared. The FBI launched one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history. But no bodies were ever found. Authorities believe they drowned in the freezing waters, swept away by the strong currents. But some clues suggest otherwise. A paddle and part of their raft were found on Angel Island, about 2 miles away. A plastic-wrapped wallet belonging to one of the Anglin brothers was discovered on the mainland. The Anglin family received strange postcards over the years with no return address. In 2013, a mysterious letter surfaced, supposedly written by John Anglin, claiming that he and his brother had survived and were living in South America. Even the FBI wasn't 100% sure they died. In 2015, the U.S. Marshal Service released aged-up photos of the men, believing they could still be alive today, in their 90s. The escape from Alcatraz remains one of the greatest prison break mysteries of all time. In 1979, Clint Eastwood starred in Escape from Alcatraz, a film based on the true story. In 2003, the case was reopened when new evidence suggested they may have survived. To this day, no one knows the truth. Did they drown? Or did they do the impossible, escaping the rock and living out the rest of their days in freedom? The mystery remains unsolved. What do you think?